Welcome, one and all, to the A2theK Wrestling Show, and we are here with former WWE and WCW Superstar, the one and only Bryan Clark, Adam Bomb, Wrath, Kronik fame. Bryan, welcome so much to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, we're absolutely excited to have you. What we'd like to do, if we could, because I know obviously you've been doing a few podcasts lately, so we're trying not to we're trying to keep them as entertaining as we can for you. But there's going to be some questions that you're probably used to answering at this point. So I'll start if I could, and we'll go back to certainly some of my earlier memories of WWF, and if we just sort of talk about the character of Adam Bomb first of all.
Okay.
And so I'd be fascinated to know sort of how the character came about. Is this something that you came up with, or is this something that was sort of maybe the brainchild of Vince or someone like that, or how is the character come about?
Actually, Tom Fleming, who now works for Marvel Comics, is the guy who came up with the idea and the drawing and the look of Adam Bomb. I've told the story before, but I'll tell you guys, because you may or may not know, you may have heard it, but I was pitched two gimmicks before I was hired: the Ringmaster and Adam Bomb. And of course I chose Adam Bomb. And a lot of people are like, how could that be? Ringmaster didn't come along until 96 or whatever. I'm just, well, yeah, of course. But back in 93 and 92, back in those days, they were trademarking everything. And so they had that one. They had that one in the files for a long time before they gave that to Steve. But yeah, I chose Adam Bomb. Tom Fleming, who coincidentally, which is a great thing, I have reached out to him a few months back before I started my new merch, and he is now exclusively working on a certain Adam Bomb new T-shirt poster design for me. That is, I mean, if you think about Spider-Man, Batman, that kind of stuff. I mean, he was great back in '93. So he sent me a draft of what he's doing. I gave him my idea of what I thought, and then he put it together, and it's amazing, man. It's gonna blow you away.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, can't wait for that. So obviously you mentioned that you were offered the Ringmaster as well. Was there any other kind of gimmicks that you were offered, or was it just them two? And also, was it, the whole Adam Bomb gimmick, was that based on the fact that you grew up not too far from 3 Mile Island? Did that factor into it? How did it come about?
Not at all, because I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up near 3 Mile Island. That's
what?
No.
I've been lied to my whole life.
I'm from Florida.
Wow. Okay.
right on the coast, man, on the Panhandle. The Gulf Coast of Florida is where I'm from.
Right.
That was just the gimmick, was Adam Bomb, Harrisburg, PA, which is where the accident happened. So they tied that all in together. But yeah, I'm no.
See, that's how tied into the character we were.
Yeah, 100%. Like completely thought that was the reason.
I never really denied it until people, of course, if you go to Wikipedia or some crap like that, they got everything wrong, and they're not even close to being right. And so I'm not from Harrisburg. Sorry.
Well, if it helps, we love Florida, so that's cool.
I live in Arizona. That's where I'm at now. So nice. I left the ocean, and now I'm in the desert.
Sand in the sea.
Yeah.
So obviously with the Adam Bomb character, it was such an iconic look. With the goggles and the eyes and the tongue and the like. Was it quite a sort of an uncomfortable one to wrestle with? With having like the contacts and the like and that sort of elements. Like, was it? How did you find it in a practical sense?
Yeah, it was fine, believe it or not, because they didn't have the idea of the goggles, the glowing eyes. That was my idea. So I pitched that to them, and then they flew me into Manhattan to an eye specialist, and he actually had I wore contact lens, so he made them to where I could still have my contact lens, but yet still have the yellow glow around them. So they were actually prescription lens.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Oh,
One thing we'd like to clear up, because again, this is the sort of things you hear and may or may not be true. But can we ask about the tattoo and whether it was a real tattoo or a transfer for the character?
It was a real tattoo. I was at right out of high school. I went to the military and served my time, and I was in military police and combat unit, and so I got a tattoo while I was in the military, and so the atom bomb was a cover up, so I got one over is what I did, and then a few years later, of course, after I left the company, I had it lasered off, so you can't even see it now.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think there was a lot of there's a lot of talk about that. Whether
everybody, I get that now. But that's what it was. There was nothing. I just felt the military tattoo didn't really tie into the atom bomb gimmick, and I was trying to help as much as I could. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing which I probably talked about quite a bit, there was a lot of rumors at the time that you were potentially supposed to have an Intercontinental title run. Can you talk to us about that? Is that true? If so, why didn't that happen?
Oh, it absolutely was true. I had about three different agents come in and tell me. We had a meeting at the King of the Ring, the very first King of the Ring, and it was it was the very first In Your House pay-per-view. And the title, it was a qualifying match for King of the Ring. And it was me versus Mabel. And they asked me to put him over. I said, sure, no problem. I'll be business and do whatever you need me to do. But then after they said that, and I say they, I'm talking like three agents. And then, of course, there was Mabel and Mo and a couple other guys sitting there. And they just said, okay, here's where we're going with you, Mabel. You're going to be King of the Ring. We're going to give you this push here. But then with you, Bryan, we're going to put the IC strap on you and run with you in this direction. And so I thought, okay, that's great. It would have been helpful money-wise and probably helped the character too. But they just had something happened. I'm not 100% sure what. And after that, it just seemed like I sort of was going down the card again after I worked so hard to get back up there. So, yeah, I just didn't like the fact that they should have not just told me. I think I just didn't like being lied to about it. I just thought, well, just don't tell me. You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I just didn't understand it. And I was, I know things change, but they could have had a meeting and said, hey, things have changed. Here's what we're doing, instead of being pushed down the hill.
Yeah, so, definitely. Yeah. I think, as well, like, you did a great job of just getting so over as well, with that gimmick and stuff. Did you get much face time with Vince, or was it, just the agents and stuff that were telling you?
Yeah, I got a lot more time with the agents, and I think that's the case for most people, not everybody, but for most people. I think that's the case. They end up speaking with the agents, and I didn't like that, because I didn't like to have to go through 5 agents to get one question. It was frustrating. Whereas in WCW, I could ask and talk to Eric, not anytime I wanted, but if I had something to address, he would meet with me. There was no, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks or something. He would talk to me. Whereas like with Vince, I had to have shoulder surgery, and I had to go in, and I basically had to beg for time off to get my shoulder operated on. I couldn't even raise my arm. But he was like, oh, it's not a good time. We can't have you away from TV right now. And I'm just like, I can't even raise my effing arm. This has got to be fixed.
Yeah.
And so, and then they went and they said, okay, well, all right, go get it done, and get back as fast as you can. And so I was supposed to be out 10 weeks, and I got back within 6, and had a match. I actually had the first dark match at SummerSlam at the United Center. The first one in '95, I think it was. First one first pay-per-view they'd ever had. and that still wasn't good enough. And so that right there, that just sort of told me that I'm busting my ass for 280 or 90 days out of the year, plus appearances, plus interviews, and the whole works, action figures and the video games and all that stuff. But the pay was not. The pay was horrible. And anybody that was there during that time can tell you that. Some people refer to it as the dark ages or whatever. I know money-wise it was, because I worked so hard on the road, and then you get home and you see that check, man, and it just not adding up.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty disappointing. Yeah.
That's understandably. Yeah.
And you're away from your family. And if you're married, well, you know how that. I mean, you can imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No, that's the thing. There's a hell of a schedule on the road, to be fair.
Yeah. At least it was a meat. Back then, it was a meat grinder. Now I hear it's a piece of cake compared to, what it was. But back then, it was rough.
Oh yeah, no. So obviously you've touched on WCW. So one thing I'd like to ask is, obviously there was probably roughly a year between WWE and WCW before you sort of appeared in WCW. Can I ask you, was there a reason for that delay in joining WCW?
Yes. One is that my contract with Vince I was waiting for that to expire. In the meantime, I was working over in the UK. I worked for Hammerlock. Nice. And a couple of other promotions. I can't really remember the names, but I was working in the UK and then back in the US on some shows. But then also, once I signed with Eric in WCW to be the Blood Runs Cold gimmick, I was training in martial arts, kickboxing, judo. I was doing all that training to prepare for that gimmick. So that's what that time frame was about.
Right.
Okay.
Amazing.
You know what? I didn't actually realize that you spent that much time over in the UK. How were your kind of UK experiences?
Man, and I'm not just saying this because you guys are in the UK, but I absolutely love it. I mentioned earlier that I was in the military, and I was stationed in Belgium, and I lived in Belgium for a year. And so every weekend, man, we would be on trains. Buddies of mine would catch a train, and we would go all through Germany and all through Europe and all through Holland and just all over, man. And so, I loved it. Still do. I mean, I'm really glad to be associated with Wrestle Merch, and hopefully that we get to do some promotional work and stuff over there.
Definitely.
And also hopefully some WrestleCons and whatever else we got coming up.
Oh, 100%. We would love to see you down here. A lot of our UK fans as well, when obviously we've spoken, done like a little bit of a teaser in terms of who we're going to have on the show. We got a really good reaction. So yeah, you're definitely big over here as well. I suppose before we kind of dive into WCW as well, just probably another one just around other promotions. Obviously you worked for Smoky Mountain for a bit, and Jim Cornette is quite a polarizing character. What are your memories of Jim and your time down at Smoky?
Good stuff, man. I enjoyed. Jim gave me really my first break. If you think about it, I was working down in Atlanta and working the Southeastern promotions and stuff and independents and places. And I got lucky enough to be working with Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, on a independent. And Paul was working in Smoky Mountain also. And he really liked the match that we had together. And so he told Jim about me. And Jim said, okay, I'll take a look at him, bring him up. And he brought me up and hired me and took me in and put me with Kevin Sullivan in a wild stable there. And so, yeah, it was great because it was weekly television, and I got to learn so much about just everything. I got to absorb so much from all the veterans in that locker room. There was just so many people that had been already, they had been everywhere. Just a group of guys that we had. They weren't like, first year guys. These were 10 and 15 year guys, all veterans. And so I was lucky to be there. And one of my most memorable and fun times wrestling. It was wrestling with no stress, if that makes any sense. But there was no stress of anything, you know.
Oh, awesome.
So it was good.
It's amazing. So we like moving into the WCW time. Then obviously you came into WCW as Wrath, a Mortal Kombat inspired character, let's say, teaming with Mortis. And obviously you had a number of feuds, obviously with the likes of Glacier and that, and obviously it's one of them characters where it's almost kind of obviously based on Mortal Kombat. It's almost that similar sort of style in terms of that comic book type character. I'm just wondering if you could sort of go through how that sort of that gimmick was pitched to you.
Well, it was pitched to me just about the time. When I had signed with Eric, he said, "You'd be perfect for what I want to do." And this was Eric's idea. Eric wanted to do a Mortal Kombat themed group of guys, and Eric is also a martial artist. So he really, that's what he really wanted to do. And of course, I agreed to it. I mean, I think if the boss is behind it, it's got to be great, you know. And I think it would have picked up and got some steam. And it was getting a little bit of steam anyway, but about the same time, the NWO came in. And so it really, once that happened, I mean, they were bringing in so many guys that it just sort of got watered down. We still had some really good matches in different places and stuff, but we were not getting the full push that we thought it was going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously NWO kind of took over most of the TV time, didn't it? But obviously, unfortunately, I think you ended up getting injured, didn't you? Not too long after that, and then I think it was probably. Yeah.
Well, what happened was prior to the injury, the knee injury, and I've had a lot of injuries. We'll go and get into that later, I guess. But, what happened was they were really going to sort of let Blood Runs Cold break off into each of its own, let it go where it wanted to go. And when they did that, I said, well, Eric, I said, can I try Wrath my way? Can I work the gimmick the way I want to do it? And he said, okay, sure. And I'll take a look at it. And so I did it. And I went back to the singlet, got myself in really good shape. I did the outfit that was very similar to Atom Bomb. And so I sort of merged the Wrath with the Atom Bomb a little bit. I come up with a finisher called the Meltdown, where it was up on your shoulders and a full slam.
Yeah.
And so I just sort of tied those things together and did it that way, and it took off. I mean, it got an undefeated streak and went for 7 or 8 months. I forgot how long it was really, but it was.
Yeah, I think to be honest, that to be honest, I didn't even know that it was kind of your idea to kind of do it your way. So that for me is fascinating to know, because you know, even though you were over initially as kind of the whole the initial Wrath character, you got super over on top of that kind of undefeated streak as well, and it seemed like you were on a collision course with Goldberg, like that was going to be the end goal, and then just inexplicably one day you ended up losing to Kevin Nash. And I remember watching it at the time just thinking, what? So how did that happen?
You were right on track. That's what I was told also, is that they were going to have me and Bill go at it, and something happened. So I'm not sure who was booking, who was or was not booking, I don't know, but they decided to go in a different direction, and then Nash ended up beating me, and then he ended up beating Bill, so he stopped both of those streaks. I think they may have made him champion after that. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think because there was a lot of obviously Kevin Nash, I guess, kind of handed you your first loss. Then you had that program with Bam Bam as well, and I think Bam Bam ended up going over then as well. So that was kind of like two losses. Was anything explained about that? Did they want to go with Bam Bam, or?
I don't know if they were going to go with him or not. I was really disappointed. I'd worked with him in New York, and I knew all about him and his. I just knew about him, his style, his in-ring style, his out-of-ring style, and all that kind of stuff. And when I worked him in that pay-per-view in WCW, I was real disappointed because he was so out of shape. and he blew up really fast and was just gasping through the whole match. And I sort of pride myself on being professional and being in condition and ready to go. And so for him to be out of shape and stuff, and that was the second time that it happened. For that to happen, and then for him to even be going over, I was not happy with it. But shortly after that, I ended up tearing my ACL. And so I was out probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 months at least, trying to get it rehab before I had my first match again, which would bring us to Brian Adams and Bryan Clark.
Yeah, so like if we could sort of move into that bit then, and obviously can we sort of have a bit of a talk about your time in Kronik, and maybe just we could get to know some of your best memories from working with Bryan and that sort of tag team element.
Oh yeah, I mean I loved working with Bryan. Bryan was probably the best friend I had in the business. Without I mean I can't think of anybody that I was closer to. My office, if you look around here, there's so much stuff of us together. I mean, it's just everywhere. But yeah, he was a great friend, the perfect partner. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anybody better. I mean, he had one side of the locker room and I had the other side of the locker room. And at the end of the night, we'd come together and say, okay, what's going on over there? What's going on over here? I mean, we knew everything. Nobody, and that you don't get that when you're a singles wrestler, because if somebody's stabbing you in the back over here, you don't know about it. But we had it set. We knew. We traveled together. We rode together, ate together, worked out together, everything. And he was hilarious on top of that. So it was great, fun to travel with. So yeah.
That's amazing. It must be, like you say, it must have been great having someone having your back like that. Definitely.
It was, and when we first debuted, I mean, it took no time for us to get over. I mean, it was like instant.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on a roll, man. They needed a powerhouse team, and we were it, man. And we just steamrolled people. I mean, big time.
Yeah, definitely. You guys were absolutely formidable as a tag team. I think, I'm keen to know whether or not you ever got the comparisons of like with the APA, because obviously you were kind of like the muscle, the bodyguards, the kind of hired guns, if you will. Did you feel like
was never in the shape that Kronik was in?
Yes,
Come on,
I
man.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more.
Let me pull up find a picture here. Come on. No, yeah. But yeah, we did. I joke with you, but yeah, we did get that comparison. Yeah. I've heard all kinds of different comparisons to different teams through the years. So yeah, but we did get that at times.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, like to your point, I definitely think you guys stood out on your own. Like the look and the kind of physicality you brought to it. It was so different. You guys you were so good together as well, as kind of individual guys. So yeah, definitely. I think that you were as a team is one of my fondest memories of WCW, really.
Definitely.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, we can touch on that short run in WWF or WWE, but to close out my career and be all Japan champions with Bryan was, it was phenomenal. It really was.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, definitely, yeah. So obviously you touched on your run in WWE, but so we're, like, just to mention, we obviously WWE ended up purchasing WCW. So before we get into the WWE side of things, I mean, did you hear if there were any plans for Kronik before obviously everything happened with WWE? Was there any sort of direction that they were headed with WCW at the time that maybe never came to fruition because of the purchase? Or
well, they made the announcement of the buyout stuff, and I had left Vince, and Bryan had left Vince, so we, I wasn't crazy. I didn't think it was a good thing for us. I thought we should have went to Japan.
Yeah.
But Bryan was friends with Undertaker, and he thought that we should maybe go to WWE. And so that's what we ended up doing. I agreed to it. But the thing was that when we went there, we were not healthy. Like I said, I'd had a lot of injuries in my career, and I know Bryan did. And at the time, we went up there, they wanted to rush everything. They wanted to, want to have 1 or 2 squash matches, and then we're right to a pay-per-view, which didn't make any sense to us. They put us with Stevie Richards, nice guy, but it didn't fit with our gimmick. And then we had the pay-per-view match, and it was not that good. But thing is that, like I said, we were injured. Kane had a staph infection in his arm. Taker had blown out his shoulder or had an injury to his shoulder or something. I had my neck injury, and Bryan was banged up too. And we needed some timing. We needed to go on the road. And I suggested that to the agents. I said, look, let us go on the road for a couple of weeks and knock some of this rust off and get our timing down. And they're like, no, we need to get this done right away. And I'm, why? What's the big rush? And so it just that part fell apart. And we only had a 1-year contract anyway. They decided to let us go, which was fine by me because I was going to get paid either way. I would have rather it worked out. But again, the way they handled it, I just knew that Japan would be the place for us to finish up.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well to, as you kind of said, to be able to finish up on that, in Japan together as a tag team and with the belts and stuff was definitely, amazing for you both. I think the only other kind of question around the WWE run was, did you notice a massive difference in the time that you went back from the time that, you started out as Adam Bomb?
Yeah, I did a lot. I noticed a lot of changes. For example, like when I was there before, we couldn't even find an EMT if we had our head busted open or whatever. There was nobody around. And then when I went back, they got like massage therapists, doctors, EMTs, all this. And I'm like, where the hell was this at when I was getting beat to death?
Couldn't lift your arm, things like that.
All of it, man. All of it. I mean, hey, good for you guys, but I mean, what the hell? Why didn't you take care of us? Again, with the pay and all the other reasons I left. But yeah, I noticed the difference, and I could tell, like I said, an uneasy feeling that I left, Bryan left. I don't think Vince liked that, and I think there was an uneasy feeling, a non-trust feeling there. I'll give an example. I've got a Legends contract I've had in my office for 3 years, maybe going on 4. I've never signed. So there's my trust level.
Yeah.
Understandable.
It'll stay there. It'll stay there for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what we do, if we could, we'll sort of move on to sort of essentially life after wrestling, and I think one of the main things you wanted to discuss, and obviously we wanted to cover with you, was that if we could sort of talk around your arrest, and I think I want to say it was last year, so we read the news of it last year. We just, because obviously there's a lot of sort of information going out there, so I think it's probably best if do you want to sort of discuss sort of what happened there with us, and then rather than
it's been over 2 years ago actually. I was never arrested, never in jail, but yet if you hear the sheets of the news or everything else, I've been in jail, been in prison. I had a great attorney, Mr. Robert Jarvis, who represented me. We denied all the charges, and they're all being dropped. They were ludicrous information that someone had fed to a friend of a friend kind of thing, just to get back at them, I think. Ended up sort of dragging me into it. They were all speculative, and they were all simply false.
Yeah.
And but what happened was that brought a real dark cloud over me, I think, because I was not a party guy or anything throughout my history in wrestling, and but it shed some negative light on me, and like I said, a cloud. It felt like to me. And
understandably, yeah.
Yeah, and finally it was over with. And everything was denied, proved, and dropped, and still because of COVID has slowed down everything. Everything is still in the paperwork of processing, but it's being dropped. But the one thing I knew is that it made me realize, it was like a wake-up call, I guess you could say. I had been taking pain pills for a few years because I'd had, after wrestling, I'd had a lot of surgeries. I had 3 knee operations, a full knee replacement, back surgery, neck surgery, shoulder, elbow. It just goes on and on. And they were just sort of one after another, and I'm sure that happens to a lot of guys. But with me, the doctors kept prescribing me opiates, which is it's a pain medication.
Yeah.
And so I got into that routine of where, okay, I would have a surgery and they would prescribe the medication and I'd be taking the pills. And next thing you know, I'm taking them every 4 hours or every 8 hours, depending on whatever it said. And so I became dependent on those where, I just was like, my wife is a director of nursing. And I told her, I said, I don't like being on these. I don't like the way they make me feel, but I know they're masking the pain. They're hiding the pain. And I don't think that's healthy. And so I just said, you know what? I said, this news just happened. I said, that's it. I said, I'm quitting. I said, I don't care what happens. I said, I am not taking another pill. And the next day I went cold turkey. I said, that's it. And I'll tell you, it was brutal. And I don't recommend going cold turkey. I think that's just my way of thinking, from my military background to the college football to my whole process of taking stuff head on and just dealing with it. And so that's what I did. And I was very thankful that I had her watching over me the whole time. But those first 7 days, man, I was so miserable. I mean, I was, I hurt more than ever, which you would think, I don't know, just that goes to show you how much the pain pills cover up. Because I was hurting more than ever. I had no energy. For the first 2 weeks, like 14 days, I don't even remember sleeping. I just couldn't sleep. Everything was terrible, man. It just took me a while to just keep fighting and every day. Thankfully for God and family and weight training and working out is really what saved me. Weight training has saved my life so many times, and being able to go to the gym and fitness in general. Same with me this morning, up at 5 a.m. into the hot tub, at the gym by 7, working out, coming home, putting the ice packs on, and then I'll put them on again later. But that's my routine now. It's not take a pill. It's do it clean and naturally and the best way that I know how.
Yeah.
But it was miserable. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture for anybody that tells you, and anybody that has been through this will know how what I'm talking about, the feeling of those first 7 days, those first 14, the 21, you finally get to 30, you're like, oh man, I'm finally getting a little bit of sleep. Maybe this will get better. And it did. It got better and better and better. And then next thing you know, 6 months has gone by, then a year and a half, then 2 years, then plus 2 years. I'm just like, man, that is so far in my rearview mirror. I just say, I'm humbled. I'm blessed by it. I'm lucky. I survived that grind of the mid 90s through WWF, being tearing myself down. And then, but it's just amazing how much better I feel. The clarity I have in my thinking, my creative ideas, as far as just an example, not to push merchandise, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
I come up and created everything. I'd always thought about doing more, but I have all new designs at Wrestle Merch. Go ahead and get your shot of that Wrestle Merch.
Oh yeah.
I gotta give my boys a plug. And so yeah, but yeah, they have an amazing store. Like I said, Wrestle Merch Central UK Europe, and you can just get to look at some of all the new stuff that I have there. But all that would not have been possible if I would have not stopped doing what I was doing. And I knew that, and like I said, I'm just so glad that cloud has passed, and that I beat it, man. And I know that I'll never go back. And people say, never. How do you know never? I said, that's the easiest question you could ever ask me. I said, I'll go back to day 7. Remember how you felt on day 7? End of story. That's all it takes. No. And I don't have a craving for it. I mean, I hurt, but I don't want it. I've had 3 surgeries since I stopped. I had a torn abdominal muscle and 2 eye surgeries that I had to have. Not a single pain pill. So never again. No, that's it.
That's absolutely incredible. Honestly, I think.
And I just want people to know. I first say that I'm going to tell them this story. I don't want them to think I'm preaching to them or anything, because I understand what it's like to go through that. Or even, there were a couple other times where I thought I might stop, and then I'd start back and stop taking it, and then I'd feel sick. So I know how that little roller coaster goes. But man, when you make that decision to just say that is it, and to know that it's so much better on the other side. I mean, I don't want to sit and beat a dead horse, but gosh, I just wish people could realize how much better it is without it. Because you don't need it. Do not.
No, I know obviously that, I think that's just amazing that you shared that story with us, because I know that you're keen to help anyone who is in a similar boat and stuff to, show that you can come out the other side. And, I think as well, I can vouch for the amazing designs that you've done as well on your merch as well, because obviously you sent them over, and, it's crazy to think that, you've been able to just dedicate that focus into producing something that is awesome, so good. And, hopefully, it's a shame that you are still feeling that bit of pain, but it's so good to hear that, you're still fighting through that anyway, without even thinking about the pills or anything like that as well.
Yeah,
so inspirational.
I'm in the gym training every day, man. I mean, I don't miss my workouts. It's just part of me, and it helps me. It helps release so many things. I do my cardio work. I did a yoga workout today. I did weights, cardio, and yoga this morning. So I did all 3 today. Usually I'll separate things. I did all 3 today. So I'm a little tired and sore, but like I said, it's all good stuff. And like I said, if it can help somebody, man, if they want to reach out to me, they can. And if I can help some way and just give them some guidance or anything like that, I'm more than willing to. Because I've been through it. I know what it feels like.
Yeah, and I it's great to see as well that you're vindicated from all those rumors and stuff that were floating around about all these charges and arrests and stuff, and you're vindicated from that, and you've overcome everything. And I just think it's super inspirational, man. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Not a problem, man. I've been wanting to tell a story for a long time, but I was just waiting for the right time. So all this stuff has sort of come together, and people ask about it, and I just want to clear it up, and it's like I said, it's a cloud that has passed, and I'm glad, man. It's
definitely.
I've got 3 appearances coming up. I got Baltimore, New York City, I got Atlanta, hopefully the UK in the fall.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So get COVID out of the way and get back in the game,
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, we'd certainly look forward to seeing you in the UK if you're around neck of the woods. So obviously, yeah, as I say, it is. We do appreciate you talking about it, because obviously it's not. It can be a difficult topic, and I think it's amazing that you sort of not sugarcoating it. You're being honest about the experience and the like, and like you say, there's people who go through this who like you say, they did appreciate that sort of honest sort of talk on that. So that's amazing.
Well, it's like I said, it's like a cycle, man. If people can break that and get out of that and get away from it, they can really realize it's much greener on the other side if they can muster up that strength, and whether it be through going through not intervention, or that even it could be an intervention, but going to programs that will help you, support groups. Like, I think if you needed that, I took the hard route. I always do.
Yeah.
I loved I love that thing that you said about just remember day 7.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, I felt like gasoline was coming out of my system. That's how I felt. I was like, I asked Michelle, I said, do you smell gasoline? And she goes, no. I said, smell my skin. I said, does my skin smell? And she goes, no. And I said, this is in my head then. I said, that's just part of the chemical. But yeah, I'm just so thankful all that is in the rearview mirror. Like I said,
definitely.
It is so far behind me, man. But you live and you learn, and if you can help somebody from that, and if I can help someone, not a problem.
Awesome. So obviously you've mentioned the WrestleMerch Central for the UK. I'm right in saying your merchandise is also available on the Pro Wrestling Tees for the US. And basically, I'll just ask if you could tell people sort of where they could find yourself on any social medias or anything like that you might want to plug.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook under Bryan Clark, and that's right at its 5,000 limit. But I'm also in the process of opening a store on Facebook, so I'll have my store on there, so you can just click on that and take a look at it. But I just started Twitter, so I'm just getting my feet wet on that. I'm behind the game here on that. I just didn't do it because I didn't think I needed it. But I'm at Real Bryan Clark on Twitter. And then also I've got eBay store that I've just started, and it's Bryan Clark, spelled Bryan Clark. Then it says it's Atom Bomb, one word, Atom Bomb - Kronik. And on there I'll have some ring worn items, a massive selection of 8x10s that some people have never seen before, and then a lot of the new designs and stuff. The goggles that were real big. The fans, we got so many requests. I've sold out of the first batch of them, and we've reordered and resupplied. But yeah, it's going to have a lot of cool stuff that people have never got to see. Not just
that's awesome.
Not just from the US, but from Japan and all over. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
that's great stuff. I think as well. I think I mentioned probably off air, but I think we've seen the designs. We think they're so good that we're probably going to even do a competition for our listeners as well to be able to win one of them. Just because obviously we're so ecstatic that you came on the show, and a way to kind of give back as well, just for for that. So. But yeah, I just think honestly, Bryan, thank you so much. We can't thank you enough really for coming on the show, to have someone of your kind of stature and with the incredible career you've had. It's humbling for us. So I just think big thank you again for sharing your story, and just for chatting to us today.
Hey, it's been great. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the UK, always have been. Europe in general. I lived there before, so I know what it's about, and I love it. I can't wait to get back. I'm really excited, looking forward to doing as many shows as possible over there, just because the fans are phenomenal, man. They just really, and I remember being over there, and every single night we were sold out, man.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody ask me the other day, what was my favorite place, and I said the Royal Albert Hall, man. I said that's like the Holy Grail kind of thing, and I was like, I actually wrestled there, man. It's amazing. So yeah, I love the UK, no doubt.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, hopefully we get to see you over some conventions and some appearances one day soon. once
Yeah,
COVID
absolutely,
is gone and is behind us.
Yeah, it's slowing down here. I actually got my first shot last week, and I get my second shot coming up the first week of May. So then I should be. I've felt great. I've never stopped working out, even during the whole COVID thing. I basically turned my garage into a gym until the gym opened back up. But yeah, now it just seems like it's getting a lot better around here. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Hopefully, I'd say, because we're getting a similar experience over here where they're starting to roll out the shots and the like. So hopefully, that's the start of the world opening up a bit more, and traveling will become a little bit easier with any luck soon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think everybody's looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Well, yeah, Bryan, thank you so much again. Honestly, truly appreciate it. Incredible to be talking with you today. You know, it's
It really is. Yeah.
As a young kid, just watching you, you know, back in like 95 all the way through to like 2000, just crazy to be talking with you today. So thank you again for coming on the show.
Absolutely, guys. I enjoyed it. Again, appreciate you having me, and I hope to get to see you again. But before you go, I got a special guest. I've done this before, which I got to do it anyway, because
Nice.
she's gonna get over it with or without me. Okay, come on in. Let's go. Here we go. This is my baby.
Oh wow! Is that a collie?
This is the Scotland Sheltie.
Oh wow!
She is 1 year old. She's from the Scotland Islands. She gives these hugs like a human gives hugs. You know, she just hug. Yeah, she's okay. Go back to mama.
Well, that's it. Davey had the British Bulldog. You've got a Sheltie.
Oh man. Yeah, she's been. We got her during COVID. We had one just like her who lived to be 15, and she passed away.
Hmm.
And so we had about a 6-month period before we could even think about getting another one, just because it was so hard to, when you lose a pet, it's tough.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And so we got her, and she's been a blessing, man. She's so funny, and she makes me laugh when I don't, if I'm tired or just whatever.
Yeah.
She's been a great little puppy so far. Yeah.
Amazing.
So I bring her in on a lot of the shows. You guys may have watched some already, so I wasn't going to try to pull it over on you. But when I first did a few of these shows, I told the guys, I said, I had a baby girl during the COVID, and they're like, this guy's too old to be having a kid. What are you talking about? And then I'll bring out my dog, and then they just, oh my God, they go, yeah, they go.
Brilliant.
So like I said, she's done Germany, she's done Australia this past week. She got 3 times to the UK. She did Vince Russo's show.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man,
That's it.
Like I said, she's over more than I am. I was like, forget it, it's her show. Let her start taking the bookings.
That's it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much again. Honestly, we do really appreciate it.